right, welcome to Waking the Kraken. I'm Wes Potts.
And I'm Alex Kahneman.
And today we're going to do Kraken World News.
Kraken World News.
All right, Alex, do you want to take us off, or do you want me to take it off?
I'll start at this time.
All right, let's do it.
News story of the day: a college student saves a drowning squirrel by performing CPR, which she learned from watching The Office. That happened today.
I have for Russell Crowe today is holding an auction for his recent divorce. The auction is titled "The Art of Divorce," and it features many props from his recent movies such as Gladiator and other ones of that sort.
A cat stuck in a tree for 3 days in Iowa was rescued only to jump immediately back up into another tree.
In Israel, Israeli authorities are investigating a possible death of a Palestinian journalist who died during clashes between Palestinian protesters and Israeli forces. It's actually become quite big news. It was all over Al Jazeera last night.
Interesting. And a Maryland man says he was on a hot streak one week whenever he won a $30 scratcher ticket, a $40 scratcher ticket, and a $50,000 scratcher ticket. Three purchases in a row.
I think I would consider that a hot streak.
That's a hot streak.
Yeah,
dude.
That's like better than going to Vegas.
Right? And scratchers, dude. Like, they probably all cost him like $3.
Also, my last report is Texas and Arizona are sending National Guardmen to the border between the United States and Mexico. It is from President Donald Trump. He wants a little bit extra border security while they're building their wall. This pushes 400 men towards the border to assist the Border Patrol.
Interesting.
So, yeah. And what's your last one that you've got?
No, I started.
Was that the last? You started out. I forgot, yeah.
I know, we shook things up.
So but yeah.
So, it's been a week.
Right.
We're back on schedule like it's normal now. So, to all of you listeners out there, we're normal again. We've got the ship sailing just fine now.
Yeah, both ships are sailing just fine. We've got the Nautilus 2 and the Esposito.
You can't forget it. Well, we got to make sure that we do some content from the Esposito too.
Yeah, I'll try to report live from the Esposito sometimes.
So I'm just gonna jump right into it.
Right.
All right. So there's this really interesting idea. And I'm totally spacing out on it, dude. I was going to write it down, but give me a second and I'll remember it. So...
okay, so obviously we're young, we're millennials, and one thing I didn't have much prepared for today, actually, when I came in, but one thing that I did see that really weighed on me whenever I was coming from the Esposito over to the Nautilus 2 is I was sailing by where the original Nautilus sank. Mm-hmm. And down, like, just probably about a couple nautical miles away, I found there was another ship, and okay, I don't know how to state it, other than bluntly, in real life, we live in a college town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lots of different ideas. I work at a very international shop. Lots of different ideas, lots of different kind of people. I hear about these things on the news. I hear about, racism. I hear about, like, bigotry. I hear about a lot of these things. However, being the age group that I'm in and where I work, I really don't witness a whole lot. A lot of people seem pretty open-minded. But on the edge of this, house, I'm going to call it. There was there was some vandalism, and it said a couple, fill in whatever racist word, but it's going to begin with an N, live here. And I don't think I've ever seen vile racism. I'm not a police officer. I'm not, like, in any particular manner of enforcement with different people and stuff like that. People come to my place because they want a luxury. It was just really shocking. I thought we had gotten past that point in America. Apparently we have not.
Absolutely we haven't.
So, and I mean, like, I know philosophically, like, I'm not an idiot. I know that it exists in America and stuff like that. It's just in my little corner of the world, I didn't want to think that it existed.
Yeah, you know. Well, I mean, like Springfield isn't necessarily.
It is a little south.
It's a little south, and the news that whenever we have been in the news lately, it's always been not necessarily the most amazing thing ever. You know,
Right.
Like with the pulling of the gay equalities, the LGBTQ Equality Act.
And I witnessed things like that because obviously, like, we've had Sam on the show and stuff, where like we know the hardships of the LGBTQ community. Because we know many avid people, and I even know African Americans and stuff like that. And I mean, I hear about this, and obviously, like, I support the idea of the Black Lives Matter movement and everything like that. I think it's shocking, though, for me as, and I don't want to sound whiny, as like a white male, like I don't know discrimination at all. It doesn't really exist for me unless it's coming from like a reactionary force from someone who has been discriminated against me. Then I've never just had inherent racism in the history of the United States of America against someone that would look like me.
Right. Yeah. You know, and honestly, like, I experience a lot of people with where I work, you know, because I work on cheap apartments, you know,
Right.
And so I get to see a lot of different types of people, and it's very obvious to me, like, that there's more like kind of like things that are like racism that are just kind of like almost like a fungus that kind of just grow, and we can't seem to get rid of it. And like some of these people will say really racist things to me just in a natural conversation without even realizing what they're saying.
Oh yeah. No.
And it's like, okay, well, that's really odd. And of course, I mean, but on the same note, there's also the other side of it where, you know, it's like, I feel like a lot of times we say, well, that's really racist whenever it's just like a stereotype, and like a stereotype is just how things are. Or, you know, or it's just like, it's something that tends to happen. It's a stereotype, you know, It can be for anything. And like, yeah, some of them are negative, but like, some stereotypes I feel like get played up as being racist. And it's like, well, I can't help that like all black people have black skin.
I mean,
like,
and I think that's the thing is like I've never seen like I've rarely ever seen just a blatant blank at all. Like you hear people say things, or you see people say things. You hear stuff or see stuff all the time on television and the internet and everything like that. You know it exists, but to put it out in the world with just like being there, like there was I don't have a face to the vandal or anything like that. I didn't see someone doing it. I think it's the anonymous vandalism that really struck a chord with me and really said there's still really a big problem in this area. And it really bothered me. Like it was all I could think about for the entire drive down here.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, you know, we had several years ago, the Hurricane Katrina happened, you know, and and as a result of that, a lot of those people moved up north here to Springfield, you know, and just where we're at is just a really good place to live. And, you know, like, I mean, like the housing market's pretty cheap, and it makes it to where it's like you can really like
cost of living is very cheap.
Yeah, you can really get a foothold in your life here, you know. And so, you know, whenever all that happened and all these people came up here, this whole new, different culture of people, you know, because they live down in Louisiana.
Right.
You know, that's totally different.
That's deep
you know?
south.
Yeah, right. You know,
that's about as south you can go in the United States of America.
Yeah.
You're on a coast.
And so, like, they come up here, and it's just like, you can see the people that have been in Springfield for forever and only know Springfield, and you can see the people who came to Springfield later and definitely bring like other culture with them, just because of the way they act.
And I like the diversity that's been happening.
I do too.
It's like I said, like I told you before we started recording, I went to a Dutch restaurant the other day. Never in my entire life would I ever have imagined going to a Dutch restaurant. Now we have a Dutch restaurant.
Yeah, we have one.
Peruvian restaurant. Like there's all, I'm talking about restaurants, but that's one of the greatest indicators to get people like interested in your cultures. To go, hey, I've had food from there. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention, like you said, like we are a college town, and like all of our, like one of our college campuses here has a sister campus in Qingdao, China, and so there's like lots of foreign exchange, and so the populate like it's pretty diverse here. You know, we have especially like, not to mention, you know, working at the hookah lounge, we get to see just how many Middle Easterns and Saudis actually live here.
And I think that has probably curved a lot of things for me too, on the fact that you'll hear a lot of anti-Islamic sentiment sometimes from older gentlemen, especially in this area. You'll be like, they've never read the Quran. Mm-hmm. They don't know anyone from like an Islamic background or anything like that. They're very quick to judge, and I meet these people on a regular basis all the time, and probably like 9 times out of 10, they're very delightful people. You can't really judge the 1/10 of them of like ruining everything. Also, because I mean, not outside of the terrorist kind of thing and stuff like that, it's you know. Most of them might have just been having a bad day on your interaction. So even if you're in Springfield, Missouri, and you meet, you know, someone that's Muslim that's going to school here and stuff like that, if they rub you the wrong way and stuff, they might just be having a bad day. Yeah, because I've had plenty of times where like a customer has like bothered me because they've been obnoxious, and then next time I meet them, they're the most delightful people I've ever met.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And well, and you know, honestly, like that's like one of the big problems with racism, though, like, and just in general, that I think is really difficult to kind of get over the hurdle for a lot of people, is like when you're saying something that's racist, you're inevitably saying something that is a blanket, broad generalization term that cannot possibly apply
to everyone,
you know. And just like even saying that like all 10 of these people like just have a say that they're all this way in a single, well, that's even hard to do, to find 10 people that are the same in even one way,
right?
You know. And so so making like blanket terms about people is just really difficult. It's really easy to do because it makes it really easy to think about the different categories that we like to, you know, put on society. But really, we don't need to be doing that.
Yeah, and I think the only thing was it just really shook me up today on that. Like it was everything was going good. I woke up, I got my coffee, I researched my reports for Kraken World News and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I was like trying to psych myself up to be funny and like to have like a sense of humor and stuff like that. And then you see that, it's just like that's all you can. It becomes a vacuum. That's all you can think about.
That's all you can think about, dude.
So.
Well, I mean, like, if it tells you anything, like, our attention is pulled more towards things that we don't like than the things we do like more often than not. I mean, we're even taught to think that way. Like, you grow up and you're graded on not what you do right, but what you've done wrong. They mark up with
your
like,
demerits, yeah.
Yeah, like, this is what you didn't do right. Yeah. And so that's how you look at the collective amount of, well, this is what I didn't do. And even if it's only one thing, it still feels like more than you did right.
It's like what a D is like a 60% and stuff. They're like, you still did more than half of it right.
Yeah, and and it's like, so like but we focus on what we did wrong, and so whenever we see something negative like that, or whenever we have negative emotions that drive us to actually spray paint something like that on a wall,
right? Well, and I mean, like it was, I mean, the last time that I heard about vandalism in this area and stuff like that was with the Jewish cemetery back in the 90s, and that was the thing. It's like, we're a group of white powered gentlemen. I'm assuming probably skinheads or maybe just terrible sense of humor vandal kids went into the Jewish cemetery and spray painted swastikas all over these like tombstones, and I was like, that's wretched as well. But I mean, I was a child in the 90s and stuff. It was one of those things where I didn't quite understand the repercussions until I was older of what happened. I just saw it on the news. It was like, this thing happened, and I knew it was wrong because obviously they were talking about how it was a crime. Yeah. But I didn't know the extent of how wrong it was because I didn't live in that world.
Yeah, you couldn't have known. You know, and honestly, like, that's where like most of everything comes from, is just fear of the unknown. You know, xenophobia is like been kind of like a staple of like human history.
Right.
You know, we are afraid of anything that's not like us, and so even if it comes down to like similar cultures fighting amongst each other, like even the Native Americans didn't they didn't all just get along with each other. And it's like, so, and this is like, pre.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you have definitely like a tribalistic mentality, which is humanity.
Yeah.
And like obviously the way that you can say what's the difference between us and them. But I mean, yeah. The more that globalization happens, the less that like, I think it's to be silver lining on this and stuff. The more that like globalization happens, the more and more we're seeing that we're more in common than we are less alike and stuff. And so I think that's definitely one of the things that's hopeful for the future.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like, well, I mean, we definitely need some sort of common goal that can kind of unite all cultures, and it doesn't need necessarily to be aliens.
I was going to say aliens, maybe zombies. Zombies might unite the world too.
Yeah, I mean,
if we have to fight the dead, everyone becomes the living.
Yeah, I mean, I think something like a freshwater deficit might like if that started happening, like if the greenhouse effect really did start happening, and
Right.
like that would be something that the whole world would start working together on. And so I think that would be a lot more likely than aliens.
Or a mass drought.
Exactly, mass drought.
Let's talk about something happy. You got anything happy for us to talk? We've done a long episode so far of racism and drought.
All right, yeah, okay, all right. What's going on? Nothing's happy right now, is there?
I mean, I saw Ready Player One. It was pretty
yeah,
awesome.
okay, that's good. Yeah, happy.
Yeah, I haven't read the book. I will state that I haven't read the book. I have heard from people who have read the book that it was very good, but it wasn't much like the book. I thought that it was stunning. I thought that it was really fun on the idea of, even if you didn't call it Ready Player One, if you just derived an idea of what the virtual reality world would be like,
Yeah.
with unlimited potential, and a kooky maker who's like dies and goes, I died, and whoever finds it was kind of like it reminded me like of a video game style Willy Wonka almost.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's about like you know how like Willy Wonka's got all these tests, and like at the end Charlie winds up winning and stuff like that. It's the idea that you have to find these particular things by being incredibly clever and looking at the recordings of this creator's life, because there's like a whole hall where you can like watch different events that they've recreated in his life and all the recordings and everything. And so these characters become detectives in trying to figure out where the next key is.
Okay.
And so it was very, very like visually stimulating, because obviously if you're a pop culture junkie like we tend to be, you catch a lot of different things. Like Akira's motorbike was in it. The Iron Giant was obviously in it. Mecha Godzilla shows up, so you get your next Godzilla
Hell
film
yeah.
before you get your next Godzilla film.
Perfect.
So like, but it was very fun. I did see that. I didn't, however, get to go see Death of Stalin this week. I know that I reported on that last week too, but I am going to go see it tonight. So hopefully next week's episode I'll be able to report on that satire piece.
Beautiful. Okay, so overall thoughts of Ready Player One as a film.
It's very Spielberg. Take it or leave it on the idea of if that's good or bad. I think that it was one of Spielberg's more enjoyable films, in my particular opinion. I'm not necessarily the highest ranked fan of Spielberg.
Yeah.
But I think the idea that most of the 80s nostalgia that everyone loves was made by Spielberg really led credit to him.
Yeah,
Because he could
absolutely.
use a lot of his things already. He's like, he already knows that he made it.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So,
yeah, that's true.
So I thought that was really fun. I really liked the cleverness of the quest and the keys. At least for first watch through, weren't very obvious. It wasn't like, oh, you got to do this thing and this thing and this thing, and then they're like, oh, I already like as someone, I felt like I was on a journey the entire time with them, and they were the leaders.
Okay.
That was definitely the fun part about it, was the fact that I watch a lot of like detective films or like mystery films and stuff, and like you can kind of, if you pay enough attention, you can kind of catch the little like quirks and stuff like that in it. And I thought that Ready Player One was really good at building a universe that you were just as much a newcomer as any other person that was sitting in the theater. And these people had been trying to do it for 5 years. So they were clearly the leaders.
Clearly. Oh, well, okay. Well, all right. Well, I've been trying to like debate whether or not I want to go see it, because like I do want to see it because I think it's it's a visual spectacle. But then there's also the part of me that's like I can watch it at home and not spend the money.
Though your TV is very gorgeous, and I miss it a lot, I would say that I would see it in theaters just because of the scale. Seeing Mechagodzilla, seeing like the Iron Giant, seeing one of the Gundams on a big screen is incredibly fun to see. And I think like to get into just the scale of how big these characters are compared to other characters, you should go see it in theaters.
Right on.
Unless you have a theater at your home.
And well, yeah, but I don't.
But none of us do.
None of us do. Man, okay, so I just watched this new comedian, and his name is James
Bayek.
I can't think of it. Anyways, it's on Netflix. It's like one of the brand new things. It's brand new. He's this British dude. His thing is called like the stages of James. I can't remember his. Maybe it's Castillo. I don't know. But anyways, he's freaking hilarious, dude. He's like a British Bo Burnham or something. Like everything is totally put together and well thought out, and like the whole act is just pure comedy from the beginning to the end. Just like everything is like an exercise in comedy. And it's amazing, dude. I'm obsessed right now.
I talk about James Bayek every week. I'm pretty sure and stuff like that. But he just did the Melbourne Comedy Festival and stuff, and I watched his opening monologue for that, and it was genius. There's something about the comedian's named James recently. Maybe I should change my name to James. Maybe I'll be funnier.
Nah, Wes is good. What's funnier than Wes Potts?
Yeah, Wes Potts is pretty good. I actually had someone ask me the other day, like, is your last name really Pot? And I'm like, I'm sorry, but it's actually Potts with 2 T's and an S. And like, she's just like, oh, that's less exciting. I was like, I know, me too.
Dude, most of the time, like, see, my last name just incites confusion.
It's I still, after knowing you for years, I still have a hard time spelling it. Sometimes I have to like write it down and then type it out.
Well, yeah, because even like no matter what, you're just like, that's not right. That can't be right. By the way, it's Kahneman. Kane like you're old, like you're thinking, and min as in there's more than one man. Kahneman. It's not Kinnaman or Coinaman
or
Keonaman. It's Kahneman. That's how I say it. So that's how everyone else should say it, right?
I mean, yes.
It's my name, damn it.
It's mine. I was born, fortunately, with the greatest name that's easy to pronounce, because people just go, it looks like Potts, it's probably Potts.
It's probably Potts. Yeah, I know. And they like think they got it easy. It's like, oh, this kid's name is Alex Russell Coeneman.
Yeah, my middle name is far more confusing than my last name or my first name.
What are your weird first and last names? Does anybody else have a confusing last name?
Almost all of my cousins have very confusing names. I think my cousin Dustin's middle name is Laurel, which is just weird. You don't normally hear anyone that's like not a septuagenarian that has the name Laurel.
Okay, actually, I've met a Laurel once.
Have you? The first name is Laurel?
Laurel, yeah.
Weird. Was he old?
No, it was actually a girl.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was like younger than me. It was kind of odd. Yeah, I mean, she's actually, you know what, it was very odd. She's a very odd person. Her name was Laurel.
Well, okay, never mind. It's not so weird. I take back what I said.
I mean, there's only that one person. I mean, I'll give it that.
True. What about music? I listened to Logic's new mixtape. Did you listen to Logic's new mixtape yet? Have you gotten a chance yet?
I have not gotten a chance to
It's
yet.
pretty dope.
I heard a song on the radio. My phone jack for the quarter eighth inch port or whatever. Cord. Yeah, it won't plug into my phone anymore.
Oh yeah.
I think there's something stuck in there or something or whatever.
Yeah.
But so I haven't got to listen to music I choose. I've been listening to the radio and been doomed to the fates of Zoo Radio. So
yeah, I got to listen to it last week when I was traveling, and I listened to the whole album because I was like, well, I'm going to give it a shot. We did talk about it on the episode. Starts off with a Rick and Morty skit, really, really great.
That's what's hot right now.
Yeah,
Rick and Morty's hot. Honestly,
though, like the beats in it were phenomenal. I loved the beats in it.
That's usually what I like about Logic. His production seems to be very like creative and original. Typically, he likes to try to do something that you've heard before, but is still fresh.
Oh, okay. I got something funny. Have you heard? Okay, so there's a YouTube video going around right now, and it is Migos' version of "Walk It in My Pocket" by Dr. Seuss.
No, I've not seen this.
So some guy took the Dr. Seuss "Walk It in My Pocket" book, and he made the beat to "Walk It As I Talk It," which is by Migos and stuff, and just like started rapping "Walk It in My Pocket," and it is the funniest thing that I've seen in a long, long time.
I can't believe I haven't seen this yet. Am I that out of touch with stuff?
I don't know, but like it blew up this week. It was just hilarious. It was like, "Walk it in my pocket. There's a walk it in my pocket," and then he just like reads the whole thing, and he's like reading the book so you can see what he's saying, and it's great.
That's pretty cool, man. I love the internet, dude.
The internet has made a lot of really interesting things.
Right? I mean, like, Dr. Seuss is just like the original white rapper.
Dr. Seuss is the original trap artist.
Yeah, right?
He even has a trap name. Like, Dr. Seuss just sounds like a hip-hop artist if I hadn't have been raised on Dr. Seuss.
Okay, so okay, here's an idea for you. I've been thinking about what kind of music doesn't exist that should exist. Because there's this band that's kind of blowing up in the Slavic countries right now. I can't even remember the name of the band. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that he's combining black metal and blues. And that's his style.
Is it more bluesy or more black metal? Like, is it like blues guitar played in like a heavy distortion like black metal, or is it like black metal style guitar played in like acoustic like blues style?
It can only, I don't know. It literally is. It's its own thing, dude. Like, it sounds like blues, but it also sounds like black metal all the time.
Weird.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. So I was thinking, what's something that I could do here? Well, the guitar, for some reason, people think that Guitar Center going out of business means that the guitar is losing popularity, but really it just means the Guitar Center is losing popularity.
Wait, Guitar Center's going out of business?
They owe something like $1 billion in debt that they're trying to reconsolidate, and they're not making the sales to help keep up on track with it, so they might be going out of business. And they're trying to say that it's because people don't want to use the guitar. It's not like one of the main things that's used in music anymore. And it's like there's more people than ever playing the guitar now. No.
Yeah, I think the thing is, like, most people now just buy the guitar that they want initially instead of buying 1,000 guitars.
Yeah.
And there's still people that buy 1,000 guitars. I think I have 3 guitars.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I try to keep my collection small, and I've got more than one.
Yeah, I mean, like, really conservative. But I know, like, my grandfather had like 13 guitars.
Yeah,
like,
right. And so, like, but anyways, what I'm thinking is to bring the popularity of the guitar back, trap rock.
Okay, yeah, no, that, you know, it's funny. I watched a video the other day, and it was the evolution of Anderson .Paak, and he was talking about like how he'll play a lot of live instruments. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've seen
as a drummer,
yeah, as a drummer and stuff like that. But he likes using live instruments, and I think that's becoming a more popular trend in people that are not trap like rappers.
Yeah,
like trap
definitely.
rap obviously has its own particular style. It's
and it's
still going with the
stay
sample
there.
and everything like that. But a lot of other ones, like you even saw it with like Lil Wayne, who played guitar on I think the Carter 3 for a couple songs and everything like that. Because one of his biggest influences, he says, is Nirvana.
Yeah,
and so yeah, like I mean, like the guitar is popular to everyone because everyone, at least our age, was raised in the whole idea of like the 90s and grunge, and that was guitar and everything was guitar. And
yeah, and honestly, that was kind of like the 90s is kind of whenever like metal as pop died, you know?
Oh yeah,
because I mean, think about it, like, you know, like Warrant and Whitesnake and even Journey and Motley Crue and Van Halen. They're all metal bands, but they were really popular. You know, they were able to do metal as pop at the time, and it was still accepted. And then so the guitar was still popular because metal was really a big part of the guitar.
Oh yeah,
you know, and then after that you get grunge, and it's like all of those guys that were dressing up in like leather outfits in the 80s all of a sudden started going and playing country shows.
Right.
You know, so. Music's interesting, and yeah, and the guitar. I mean, Nirvana. I think what grunge did was a really cool thing. You know, like they completely took what music was doing and said, well, let's do something completely different. You know,
going back to your question, I'd like to see a lot more goth pop. Like,
goth pop,
like really, really dark pop music, but not like I feel like by even stating that, like someone's just gonna be like, well, you can always just dress a pop star in a lot of black and have them sing about sadness. No, I want like Joy Division meets pop music, like where it's just like someone's like, yeah, this is good. I want to see children singing about sadness. Like,
children singing about sadness. That does sound really sad.
Like Kids Bop has just the saddest song ever, and it's goth pop.
Now that's what I call sad.
It's like the next incarnation of like Witch House.
Yeah, right.
Like,
what would be the sad version of Kids Bop?
I don't know. It would probably be just part of my collective of stories of The Loneliest Little Puppy and other sad stories for depressing children.
Right, yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Maybe that'll be my third. Maybe that's the third little like story in the book of The Loneliest Little Puppy and other sad stories for depressing children.
That should be. Should we super fight?
We should super fight.
We got to talk about this.
We have the winner for this week. because you guys all went out and voted. Good for you guys. I'm really proud of you.
So E.T. controls all animals versus a Nigerian prince that has the ability to super jump. And what do the polls say?
All right, an astounding number of people, a total of 5 votes, and it's 60% vote for E.T. and 40% vote for the Nigerian prince. So I believe that E.T. is our winner.
E.T. again. E.T. is in control.
E.T. is dominating. He's probably our best that we've had since maybe ever.
Well, eventually we got to get to something.
Something that's going to kill him.
That's going to kill him. And hopefully it'll be this time.
All right. What do we got?
A white one?
I've got Barney.
Ooh. And can create a hologram of self.
Ooh. I like this one. I think this one actually might win.
Yeah, and plus, like, Barney is an animal. Why would other animals want to kill him?
Well, Barney is a dinosaur from our imagination, so he's an imaginary dinosaur, so he can't be controlled by E.T.
That's fair. Oh, you're right. Okay, all right.
So
that is interesting. Wow. Okay, so obviously for some reason Spielberg is a main theme right now. So Spielberg versus imaginary Barney.
That's right.
Fight!
So I've been going back. You lived with me, as you know. I've never really been much into fighting video games.
Right.
But I've been trying to get good at them because it's something that people want you to do.
Dude, absolutely, man.
So
if you show up and there's people playing Mortal Kombat, everyone wants you to join in.
Yeah, they're always just like, hey, Wes, you want to get this? And I was like, no, I'm having a good time watching.
Yeah. Which is odd because most people are like, is that Street Fighter?
Yeah. I've been playing since I have an Xbox 360 still, since I haven't upgraded. I've been playing a lot of Soul Calibur 5.
Soul Calibur.
And like, it's been great.
Easily one of the most underrated fighting games.
Yeah,
dude.
no, it's been super fun. Like, I've been just trying to like work my way through everything and beat the shit out of people.
Who's your character?
It's the samurai.
Oh, the samurai?
Yeah. I can't remember what his name is.
I can't either.
But he's the best.
The guy with the swords, right?
Yeah, he's super good.
Yeah, he's actually his character is actually based on like an actual samurai too.
Oh, really?
Which is interesting. I can't remember. I don't know the whole story.
I also have really enjoyed, since it's Soul Calibur 5. They have the assassin from Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh yeah. Ezio Auteri.
Ezio, yeah,
Man.
and he's really good in it as well.
That's interesting. Yoshimitsu was always my guy.
Yeah.
I'm all about that. Like the meditating and teleporting and standing on the sword and hopping around and pissing people off.
He was really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate, what's the one guy that's he's like just kind of loose.
Voldo.
The
Mummy.
That guy.
Oh my god,
that guy
dude.
is the worst. He is worse than Burger King.
Dude, I could ruin your world with Voldo, dude.
Everyone can ruin my world with Voldo. That's why I picked the samurai, is because Voldo is so hard.
Dude, Voldo is like the slimiest, slitheriest dude you'll ever like. He's terrifying.
Yeah, he like walks on his knife hands like backwards, upside down. He's just terrifying. He's a terrifying individual, and he dresses like a jester.
Yeah, and like he's oddly sexual.
Yeah, that too.
He's always got the big cod piece, or like if he doesn't have the big cod piece, he's wearing like only bandages wrapped around his body because he's a mummy.
And that's been my experience with this game recently. I've been working my way through it. I made a character. I created a character because you can create characters in it, and you can give them specialty kind of things and stuff like that. And I made. I just wanted to see what it would be like to make Harlow the space pirate. So I made Harlock the space pirate in mine.
Hell yeah, dude. Dude, I love that movie. I stumbled upon that.
It was so good.
I just stumbled upon it one night. I was like, I want to watch an anime movie I haven't seen before. That looks good.
Yeah.
That movie is awesome.
Me and Chloe watched it a couple weeks ago and stuff, and like she was all about it. She's like, that was so good. I didn't think she would be as into it, but she was like, that was amazing. So now we're gonna try to find the old anime of Harlock the Space Pirate, just to see if it like matches up really well. It'll probably be a lot like Robotech, though.
It probably will be. Like, I haven't seen the original. I didn't even know there was another original series, to be honest.
Yeah.
So you have to let me know about that.
Oh, I think it's on Crunchyroll, so I think.
Is it on Crunchyroll?
I think me and Chloe might try to watch it.
All right, well, let me know. It might be worth watching.
Yeah.
Because the movie was pretty freaking good. If you haven't seen that movie, by the way, you need to go see that movie.
It's gorgeous, too. It's so beautifully done.
Yeah, it's a spectacle, for sure. Well,
I think we've talked enough today.
I think we have. We've talked quite a while today.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. And once again, make sure that you just check out our Facebook and our Twitter page.
Yeah, we got an Instagram too.
Yeah, if you could like us on iTunes, that would be really swell.
Yeah, you can also follow us on Stitcher and Google Play, and
we're on Blueberry now too.
We're on Blueberry.
We're on Blueberry. We're on Player FM.
Oh man, expanding the library. Dude.
Yeah, I've been making sure that we're covered on all of our bases.
Yeah. And of course on SoundCloud and YouTube as per usual.
That's
right. Thanks for joining us.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.